Ready.
All right. Hello, Veronica, right?
Hey, it's me.
Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome to the technical interview. I believe you already met my brother Sean. My name is Dave. We look a lot alike. Um, I hope he was nice to you. Um, so today, I just want to dig a bit deeper into your process and kind of how you work, and just try and get a feel for that. So we'll just jump right into the questions if you're ready. All
Yeah,
right.
thanks, Dave. I'm a bit
All right.
nervous, but yeah, I hope it will be all fine.
Hey, that's a natural human reaction. That's no problem. Well, so first of all, can you share a bit more about? Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I have to cut this. So we'll just jump right into the questions here. So first of all, what is UX design? How would you define that?
I would say UX is a very broad term and it encompasses a lot of aspects all about interaction of the user with the product or service and also those feelings they get from interacting with the project and how relevant the content is and so on. So it's a lot of you can find uh, you can speak about when talking about user experience, but it's mostly about that feeling you get and being able to solve your problems with the product or service.
Okay, yeah. What? How would you explain the difference between UX and UI?
Speaking about the difference, I would say that UI is about aesthetic impression you get from using some product. Again, it's about buttons, typography, and how the product looks and feel. And when it's about UX, it's how convenient it is to use something. So when we compare UX and UI in relation to building a house, let's say, it will be UX when you talk about the foundation, how convenient it is to live in this house, to find a door or something you want to find, and some electric appliance, let's say. And UI is about the paint and the furniture, how good the house looks like.
Okay, yeah, good analogy like that. Um, okay, can you kind of walk me through your workflow?
So my workflow usually starts with no matter if it is a redesign of some feature or a design of a new one, it's first about understanding the problem and why we do something, what data we already have in the beginning, and what are the success criteria, so that we could estimate how successful our design or redesign is and what we wanted to, if we achieved what we wanted. And so after research and getting that data, if we already have it, or encouraging the project owner to talk to users and finding that data if we still don't have it and it's just our assumption that some problem exists. Then I go to analysis of that data and then prototyping, testing those prototypes and design. That's the loop that you usually iterate within. Test, prototype, design something. You
Okay,
prototype, you test, you design. Prototype, test, design. Right.
okay, yeah, great, thank you. Um, so what UX design methodologies do you know? Are you familiar with?
Design methodology is something that a lot of designers try to um, stick to, and like they, at least they think it's important to stick to some design methodology when they showcase something, so their work on Behance, let's say. But I would say just, some framework that might help you to some extent, but should be anyway altered a bit and adjusted to your own process. And it's always different. So, but in general terms, speaking broadly about some popular methodologies at the moment. I could name design thinking framework, lean design, lean methodology, and one more is double diamond. All of these three are what I would say useful and great to use when it's applicable. For example, design thinking is about empathizing with users and talking to them before you start designing something. And then again, iterating with the process of prototyping and then testing your designs before you develop them. So it's important to to remember you should start with actually getting in touch with your users. That's what design thinking is, and prioritizing their needs over the needs of business developers who want to develop something at the moment, for example. So it's about design thinking. If we speak about lean approach, lean is about getting rid of any waste you have at the moment and anything unnecessary. Because, for example, when you want to, you might need just to build a scooter, to, let's say, to at the moment to get started with, and only after that maybe a rocket. But what if a scooter is enough at the moment? You shouldn't be starting with building a rocket to check your hypothesis. And so lots of people just make this mistake. They think they should develop a lot of cool features before they show the product to users, and then somehow no one knows how to use it because they already have a bunch of cool functionality. But what if they don't even have this problem at the moment? So you should be starting with something small, as this lean approach says, and then increasing the scope and adding something, but again, being closely in touch with users and just adding something what they really need, not what you think they need. That's about lean approach. And the last one, double diamond, is about a theory or an approach where you first start with diverging and going into as many options as possible when you brainstorm the ideas of how something could be solved. And then after you have come up with as many options as possible, you start diverging and getting into you first diverge, right, and then converge. Okay, if I put these verbs correctly. So you first diverge into as many options and then converge into what you really need. But don't miss on this important step. Don't just get into designing something right away, just your first idea from the top of your head, and you do it and you think that's enough. Double diamond approach says you should be starting with first going as wide as possible and brainstorm and come up with more ideas of how you could approach something.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent answer. Thank you. So when receiving feedback, it can't always be positive, of course. Maybe you've received some negative feedback in the past. How do you respond to negative feedback?
Exactly. There were such projects, especially on freelance, when sometimes you don't align with your understanding of what the success of the project is, and that rings the bell that okay, maybe it's better not to keep working in this way if our vision is different, for example. But if it's the same, if we all work for if we all have common understanding of what the successful product is, I think all the feedback is for the better, and I would just, even negative one, I would just convert it into actionable points and then start preparing some alternative options, right? And then we keep discussing that and hopefully arrive to some common understanding of how something should work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
But I definitely try to turn it into positive, any negative feedback into, positive side of things where you just get more ideas on how you can do it.
Sure. Yeah. Constructive criticism sort of approach, right? Or a
Yeah,
response.
exactly, into constructive criticism.
Okay. Thank you. So, um, thinking about some of your favorite examples of what you would consider good UX, can you tell me about some of those examples?
I think we can start with something as simple as a lift. A lifting experience, right? Experience of using a lift. I like the one that I have in my apartment. So just block of flats, I mean, and where you just hit the button and until it arrives, 4 seconds before it arrives, it gives this beeping sound, and I'm already prepared. I know it will arrive, and so then it flashes the light when it actually arrived, and I can go straight away to the door, and it indicates the number of it's counting the floors while I'm moving. Okay, I know where I am, and it just all brings to this positive experience overall. I'm not stressed when I use my lift, so um, as easy as that. And of course, there are a lot of great products nowadays on the market. Everyone knows them, and designers like mentioning Figma, the tool for designing, right? The one that is so smooth at the moment, and is such a game changer after using Photoshop, where the designers of the previous generation used to start with. It was so stressful to design there. Now it's all for you. Everything you want is right at your hand. Figma is excellent in this way. It's also quite minimalistic. You only have a bunch of features you really need, and then you can go deeper and use some plugins if you want something more, but it's not overwhelming you with like 100 tools that you see at the moment and you don't even know which one to pick. Right, more products to name. I don't know, Airbnb or um, I wouldn't mention Facebook nowadays. It's not good, right? A good example of something that overwhelms you as well with a lot of things you can do there, and you just feel lost at some point. And yeah, but Airbnb is definitely a good one. I love the way they provide this onboarding experience and help you to select what you really need at the moment, just showing the clear number of filters. It's not a lot again, but you filter what you really need and can find why you really want it to, not just a billion of options like on Booking.com, for example. Yeah, I can give a lot, but that's to name a few.
Sure. Yeah. Would you say that there's a formula to in order to measure good UX design?
Yeah, I would say there are certain approaches for measuring, and it's about UX KPIs that you can use. The most popular ones are time on task. So you measure how much people first spent on doing your task and then how this time changed. Hopefully it decreased, right? And people can now do something faster after your redesign, for example, and then that's time on task. Um, Again, task completion rate. How many people at least even completed the task and did what you want them to do? For example, just 4 people out of 10 first. And then after you redesign something, tweak things a bit, it's already 8 people out of 10. So the percentage of the percent of this, the rate of task success increased. So that's the good outcome. You can speak about net promoter score here. Again, how likely it is that users will recommend your product to someone. Usually the products like showing this banner. I don't know, Sean, how often, Dave, sorry, how often you um, select such things and say how likely it is that you would recommend something. But yeah, that's the common approach on how you can measure good UX.
Yeah, I sometimes provide feedback if I'm not in too much of a hurry. Um, so is let's see, what sort of research methods do you use when approaching a new project?
In terms of methods, it greatly depends on the stage the project or some feature is at the moment, and the context, how much time you have, and the budget and so on, of course. But if we speak about stages, the first one is when you want to strategize, right? It's just the strategy stage, and then you can go with both qualitative and quantitative methods, and study some analytics, go with some desk research, and run some surveys, for example, to understand the trends at least. And then after strategizing comes actually doing something, right? Execution. And when you do it, you can go with just simply, for example, creating a paper prototype and then testing it, usability benchmarking. And after this stage comes evaluation. You need to evaluate if it's if something works well enough, and here you use qualitative methods mostly, and just something like Hotjar, let's say, to see how many people click the right things and what's the click-through rate, and okay, whatever is there.
All right. Yeah, good. Thank you. Tell me about your most successful UX design project, and maybe your least successful UX design project as well.
Speaking about my favorite one, I would maybe mention the one that brought to the greatest results in terms of what we started with and what we came up with. It was a service that I designed from scratch, and it was about manufacturing airplane seats, actually, for an American customer. And his brother has this business, and he used to work manually, just manually tracking all the process. Like, guys had literally paper, and it was like printed tables there where they manually ticked every stage. Like, they start with, I don't know, getting some leather together. I don't even remember those complicated terms they used for naming every stage of manufacturing this airplane seat, but they actually did it all, checked it all manually. And it was a lot of, chaos at some point, because someone forgot to tick something off, and then some other person comes to picks this order, and they don't even know what to continue with. So his brother wanted to scale the business, and maybe he kept getting more and more orders. He couldn't even manage all of those appropriately, and so he wanted to develop a mobile app where his workers could track everything. And so my task was to actually design the process from scratch, because there wasn't anything digitalized before. And so I came up with the process and just designed the screens where his workers could track the progress, and just showing they completed every stage. And was a very clear minimalistic interface I'm really proud of, and he was very contented, the customer. And we kept testing it. It was great from the point of being able to be in touch with users and test it, and they found it convenient and could complete the tasks quite quickly as well. And also from the point of view of complexity. It was a very complex one in terms of understanding what the developers have come up with, their structure, and all the entities and values of those entities. And you should understand it all to design something that aligns with the developers' expectations, right? And so I went as deep as the database and understanding what's there to align the designs with that. And then we ended up with creating a white label builder, actually a builder for such mobile apps that any manufacturer could actually use, not just the one who creates airplane seats. Anything, right, could be there. So it was a great one in terms of impact. In terms of negative experience and like failure projects, I could definitely name my own startups. The first ones I used to start with, it was just crazy in terms of how little I knew about studying the problems and understanding user problems. I thought such a problem existed just because it existed in my head and I had it, but it doesn't mean every other person will have it. It was about a platform where you could exchange books. I thought it would be a great idea if anyone could add their books to a platform, and then you find some book there and you can contact this person and ask for that book and take it to read. And it's about, ecology and making a planet a greener place and cutting less trees and things like that. But somehow people weren't ready for that. They were like, I don't want to share my books. I think people might just ruin them. And I was like, how come you don't want to share your book? It's about ecology, it's just gathering dust on your shelf. I just didn't study the problem, thoroughly enough, and that it led to just, a failure. Though a developer developed a very cool platform for that, there was so much functionality there, but all in vain, a good example of you should start with talking to users and understanding what they really need before you develop something. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Great. Yeah. Good example of learning from mistakes, perhaps, and always growing, right? Okay. So, where would you say that you find inspiration?
I think it's from growing my own community of designers. It's, I would say, both a local one, because I do a lot of offline things for the local community and just help designers to share knowledge and network. I think it's important, especially for junior designers who lack feedback and understanding of how to get started in the industry, but also international community, because I run online meetups and invite international guests so that people could listen to English and speak English and write, and just not be afraid of someone who lives so far away. And still, it's possible to talk and network and meet designers from all over the world. So that's a great opportunity with internet and everything we have now. Yeah, so I think it's mostly from talking to people within my own community that I get inspiration, and reading, of course, reading books and everything what comes. From bloggers at the moment, and just a lot of inspiring stuff.
Okay, great. As you're getting inspired, what would you say are some of the next trends that you see in UX design?
I think there are a number of trends that we see emerging at the moment. It's, for example, Web 3.0 and metaverse, right? And the idea of things that will be even more interconnected in future that we imagine it to be. So designers, when design something for a number of platforms, should take that in mind and understand that people from all over the world might need to connect to something easily, and there shouldn't be borders from that. For that, we already see all these concerts that start coming in metaverse, right? Some groups already played some concerts for other guys joining from all over the world, right? In metaverse, something absolutely mind-blowing if you think about it now, but I think in future it will be getting more and more common for us to join some events in metaverse and maybe dance even, and have some time together there, and that will be no problem. So I think the borders between reality and irreality will be sort of disappearing, and it will be easy to enter some office being at home, but you enter some office and people might even see you there, somehow projecting your the way you look like at the moment at home there, right? So it will be crazy things that will be become reality. It's, of course, artificial intelligence that will be helping us more and more, just like these ChatGPT things. But again, won't be, I guess, replacing us for 100%. It's still problem solving that people know much better. And but surprisingly, they used to say very simple things. Those people who do some simple things, they will be replaced first. But the trend is different, actually. Those who work on construction still work there. And those people who paint, for example, a sad trend, but artists get replaced to some extent, right, with Midjourney and things. And yeah, so AR. And maybe one more trend that I would name is working remotely, right? So I think we will see more and more of that. Lots of people will just work remotely. We already have it, but maybe there will be even more of that. You know, this being a digital nomad and just travel the world with your laptop, and that's enough. And it will be okay for the employers to see that. So no one will even expect you to to work from something like, I mean, all the time and be in the office and things.
Right. Yeah. Depending on the responsibilities, I guess. Yeah. Some definitely will not be expected to show up in
Exactly.
the office. So one of my favorite questions, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah, tricky one. Definitely an industry expert who might help others to grow and find answers for their questions. I myself had great mentors at the very beginning of my career path when I felt like insecure, you know, and stuck at some points and wasn't sure if I was doing something right. And they helped me a lot. So that's what I would be glad to do as well. Maybe also lead a team, a design team, formally or informally. Let's see in what capacity I could work, but that would be interesting to try this role of a team leader and just work on setting processes that help people to achieve more.
Oh, good. All right. Some ambitious goals. I like it. So, what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced as a UX designer?
One of the biggest challenges would be, I would say, working in a team where there are a lot of team players. It's not just 7 designers that we had, but also a number of business analysts, and then a product owner and developers, testers, of course, QAs, and all these people should be aligned somehow. And you want to explain why you do something in a certain way, why you design this in a certain way. And there are so many other people who understand something about design. Of course, everyone has an opinion about design because it's easy, right? You just look at design and you say, I don't like it, it's just bullshit, or oh, I love it, it's a great design. Why people can't even explain, right? But it's easy to criticize, of course. So one of the greatest challenges for me is to just keep everyone on the same page, all the designers, right, in our design team, for example, speaking about my last place of work, to keep everyone updated and on the same page in terms of our design library so that we use the same stuff, but also bringing other roles on the same page from what's going on from design perspective so that everyone knows and hears to our opinion, right? And we're all aligned in terms of that.
Okay, good. Thank you. Can you think of an example, a design example that has solved a business problem?
I can mention Booking.com here, for example. They started with just getting $200 per week, and they tried to think why people don't really rush into booking things from their platform. So they started talking to users and checking what stuff they post, and they understood the quality of photos is so bad. People can't just make out what this place is really is. So they started investing into this. They actually traveled to every single property owner and helped them with a good quality camera. They helped to take photos, professional looking photos, and post it on their platform, and also adding a photo of every single room, not just a number of rooms, and you don't have the idea of how the rest of the things look like. And so that helped them to work with the quality of content and increase the number of users. But they just didn't invest blindly into inviting more and more users. No, they took this time to understand what the problem really is and started from there to improve the experience first, right? Design thinking approach. And only after that, they naturally engaged more users into their experience. So I think it's just a good example when people really care about their experience, the product owners, right? Even locals, let's take locals, the app that is getting more and more popular now. Locals is all about helping you to get started with the community and something you want to do where you are. They even help you to nail the photo you want to add to your event, because when people post an event, they need some photo ideally to collate to show how it will look like. And then people just see, okay, my photo is not good enough. It will just not show how cool the event is. And they use artificial intelligence to brighten things up, to even change the way you look like on that photo. And it's so funny. I would recommend anyone who's still not on locals to check it out. And it's a great example as well, how they care about users and just start with empathy.
Yeah, great. Is there anything that you think you are not so good at yet as a UX UI designer?
Yeah, I believe there are certain things I would like to grow in. It's actually things connected with video and video editing, and I would really love to grow in that and to create more useful content and to just improve in those skills. And I would say project management. I would really love to grow in project management to become a great leader one day, team lead, right? But for that, you should know how to set processes, how to align everything within for that process, and just enable people work with that and understand where we go and setting the roadmaps. I would like to grow in that. And maybe the last thing is motion design. I just see the recent trends and they look so cool. What people can do with motion design, just crazy. And would love to find time to grow in that as well.
Okay, great. Excellent. Well, that's pretty much it for my questions. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask me?
Yeah, I would ask a number of questions. With the first one, what about that criteria for success that you set for designers in your company, and what will be that criteria that you want me to meet that will say I'm the successful one?
Well, I would say the single most important indicator of success in this role. I mean, it's not just about your work process, but it's also about you as a person, how you fit in with our culture. We're not a huge team here, so it really kind of feels like a family. And so of course it's important how you work and the results that you provide, but your personality. Do you get along with the other people here? Um, are you all business all the time? You don't want to talk to anybody, or do you kind of, get along with us? I would say that that's very important for us here. Yeah.
I see. What about performance review? Do you have it in your company, and what it's about?
Yes, every 6 months, we look into your performance. We collect feedback from all the team members and the people that you have close contact with on a regular basis, from the team members to the our customers. Um, you'll be well aware of what's expected of you, what KPIs should be met, and if you manage to meet these, then you'll be golden. Yeah.
Oh, great. Sounds good. You mentioned you want me to be a good team fit, right, in terms of personality and stuff. So I would appreciate if there will be an opportunity to meet other team players before considering getting further through the interview process. Do you think that would be possible to meet other designers and people I would
Yeah.
work with?
Yeah. We actually have we just team meetings or just what do we call them? Happy hours that we get together, and whether you're a remote worker or here with us on our site, we like to get together regularly. So you're welcome to join one of those meetings and get to know everybody a little bit. Sure.
Thank you. Sounds exciting. Would be
Yeah.
looking forward to progressing with our interview
Yeah. Yeah.
process.
Definitely. Definitely. Any other questions for me, or is that pretty much it? We
Yeah,
can,
not
if you
not
think
really
of
at the
anything
moment.
else, feel free to send me an email and I'll let you know. We'll be in touch with you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All
Have a
right.
good
Thank
day.
you. Bye bye.